Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to your news edition. These are the headlines. The President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, extends a condolences message to the victims' families of the bus accident in Al-Harrach and announces a one-day mourning. The situation is always critical in the Palestinian territories as the Zionist movement goes on, causing more casualties among civilians. Hatred speech keeps mounting in France, and a complaint has been filed against Bruno Retailleau and the far-right party. Welcome back. Following the bus accident that occurred in Al-Harrach locality, causing the death of 18 people, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, extended a condolences message to the families of the victims, and I quote, "It is with deep sorrow and grief that I received the news of the bus accident which led to the death of 18 people. Following this painful tragedy, I extend my deepest condolences and sincere sympathy to the families of the victims, praying Allah to bestow His vast mercy upon their souls. To God we belong, and to Him we shall return." Also, in the latest developments, the President of the Republic decreed a one-day national mourning starting from Friday evening, during which the national flag will be at half-mast. A tragic event. This bus accident led to the death of 18 people after falling into Al-Harrach River. The injured victims have been transferred to the nearest hospital, and the civil defense teams have launched a rescue operation looking for more survivors. Tasked by the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, an official delegation headed to Al-Harrach to take stock of the situation, assess the damage and take care of the injured by providing the best medical conditions. The delegation included the private principal secretary to the Presidency of the Republic, Boualem, the Interior Minister, Brahim Rad, the Transport Minister, Said Sayoud, the Hydraulics Minister, Taha Derbel, in addition to the Governor of Algiers and the Civil Defense General Manager. In Gaza, the Zionist war machine carried out new attacks on Friday morning, killing more than 11 Palestinians. A day before, 36 others were murdered. 13 of them were waiting for humanitarian aid near distribution centers. The UNICEF affirmed that 13,000 children and 40% of pregnant and breastfeeding women are in severe malnutrition condition since last July. Still in the Palestinian territories, where the Zionist entity is using famine as a weapon, families are going through dire times, notably those who lost their parents. A case in point, the Abu Nabil family, always waiting for their father, missing for nearly 5 months. More details in this story by both Oussama Al-Awadi and Salim Miroh.
Sitting amid the rubble full of anxiety and endless waiting, the Abu Nabil family waits with hope for news of their father. He has been missing for 4 months while attempting to make his way to the north of the Strip. Jamal disappeared on April the 14th, just after Ramadan. We were displaced south. Then there was the Iranian strike and people started returning to Gaza. Like many others, he wanted to verify with his own eyes if this was true. With the help of seeing their father again, the children of Abu Nabil family live in an endless wait. Each night nourishes the dream of meeting once again. We miss my father terribly. My sister got married without him. I got engaged without him. And even last night we spent without him. This Palestinian family is just one among thousands of others who have lost a loved one, all devastated by the pain and by the absence of those they still hope to see again. I miss my father. It has been more than a year and a half since I saw him. Nothing can fill his absence or the void he left. In total, more than 11,000 Palestinians are missing following the Zionist entities' bombings of the Gaza Strip, leaving behind families and loved ones with a slim hope of finding them one day.
In Nîmes, a grassroots association and lawyer Khadija Ouadia are taking France's interior minister to court, accusing him of inciting racial hatred in a case that challenges not only a man but the political system behind him. Hathab El-Houchet, Melissa Dila Balaman.
In Nîmes, the case is heating up and is aiming high. A small neighborhood association, backed by Franco-Algerian lawyer Khadija Ouadia, is coming out swinging. Their complaint, they say, isn't a stone dropped in the pond, but a rock hurled at the political machine.
Cette plainte a pour objet de traduire le ministre de l'Intérieur, M. Bruno Retailleau.
This complaint seeks to bring the Interior Minister Bruno Retailleau before the court to be tried and convicted for inciting racial hatred and discrimination. When a minister speaks, he speaks on behalf of the state. So if a minister makes discriminatory, stigmatizing or denigrating remarks, it inevitably sends the message that anyone else can do the same without consequence.
Ça donne le sentiment pour tout à chacun qu'on peut y aller aisément.
No accidental slip, insists the lawyer, accusing the minister of deliberately building over months a narrative targeting two clearly identified groups, the first being Muslims in France.
La liberté d'expression n'a qu'une seule limite.
Freedom of expression has only one limit, the breach of the social rule, meaning it cannot be used to encourage discrimination or hatred. The law and case law make it clear. You don't need to prove that such remarks actually increased hatred. You only need to show they are likely to provoke hatred and discrimination. The second target, she says, is the Algerian community, and here it is not a debate, but a direct hit. When you attack the president of any republic or state itself, it inevitably impacts the community concerned. That fuels hostility toward the state, and by extension, rejection of all Algerians.
On propulse la haine envers un État, et par contamination, l'ensemble des Algériens vont subir ce rejet.
Since the complaint was filed, Ouadia has been inundated with racist, sexist, and Islamophobic insults. Her answer: wield the law as a sword to break the chain of hate.
Donc le combat de cette association dont j'ai l'honneur de représenter,
the fight of this association, which I have the honor to represent, is to remind, and I say this loud and clear, that there must be a resistance today, a resistance that shows itself by refusing to give in to hate, and by using every legal means to do so.
D'user de tous les moyens de droit pour y parvenir.
On the table are remarks attributed to the Interior Minister, words that, in her view, sow division rather than debate. Whether that will convince the Court of Justice of the Republic remains to be seen. For now, the odds are steep. Only 2% of complaints sent to investigation have made it through. But for Khadija Ouadia, that is just a springboard.
Dès lors où les voies de recours internes sont épuisées,
once domestic legal avenues are exhausted, I can take this fight to the European Court of Human Rights, to the United Nations, and to international courts. On that terrain, our chances of success are real and serious.
de réussir ce combat sont réelles et sérieuses.
For her, the case is less about one man than about a system, less about a minister than about a mechanism. Her bet: to remind that in a republic, the law is not a blade, but a shield. And if Republican fraternity is to be argued not only in courtrooms, but in the court of public opinion, Ouadia has chosen to open the trial before hate claims victory.
France is fracturing. Inequality, racism, political scandals are driving more citizens to leave as the right and far-right tighten their grip. Melissa Dila Balaman with the details.
In a climate already on edge, France's right and far-right are stepping up efforts to widen their reach, pushing a message steeped in hostility and identity-based isolation. The rhetoric is biting, driven by scandals, contradictions, and fresh revelations of public fund misuse and lucrative tax breaks for political allies.
Décidément, l'extrême droite.
The far right has a problem with money and with honesty. The press has revealed that the government granted a staggering 640 million euros tax break to Vincent Bolloré, the 14th richest man in France and a backer of the far right.
14e fortune française et soutien de l'extrême droite.
Pourquoi les chefs d'entreprise?
Why are business leaders thinking about moving their headquarters abroad, investing more overseas, or shifting wealth to neighboring countries, Italy included, when they're invited to? Because they're despairing over France's economic outlook and see no prospects for the next 2, 5, 8, or 10 years.
Aucune perspective pour les 2, 5, 8, 10 prochaines années.
France is grappling with a deep social crisis, widening inequality, stubborn inflation, rising unemployment, and a public debt spiraling out of control. Racism and xenophobia have also intensified, pushing more citizens to consider leaving altogether. The latest flashpoint came from former Minister Noël Lenoir, whose remarks triggered public outrage and led the daily L'Humanité to publish an open letter signed by citizens, academics, and community organizers. It called for an official inquiry warning that any rhetoric targeting people based on their origins undermines the dignity and equality of millions.
Toute la jeunesse, elle veut quitter la France.
All young people want to leave France. We all want to go. France is making us depressed. For the Muslim community, many leave because here we're outright hated.
Ils veulent un pays musulman parce qu'en France, on est un peu détesté.
Aujourd'hui,
at least 1 in 4 people want to live somewhere else. They complain about the mentality, the atmosphere. It's true, there's no security anymore. Justice works on a double standard. People are tired of it. And for those earning a little money who want to actually live, not just survive, taxes are killing them.
passer un cap, les impôts, ça les tue, ça les fatigue.
J'ai eu plus d'opportunités.
I had more opportunities in my first 2 or 3 years abroad than in all the years I struggled in France. I understand why people want to leave. When I go back and see how unsafe it is for women, it's even more obvious.
À quel point il n'y a pas de sécurité quand tu es une femme.
Instead of easing tensions, the French government is stoking anger and confusion in a society already fractured, while itself weakened by ongoing corruption scandals and allegations of diverting public funds.
Sous Emmanuel Macron, l'argent de la TVA.
Under Emmanuel Macron, VAT revenues have been massively diverted from the state budget. Before Macron, between 2013 and 2018, nearly all VAT went to the state. His governments have imposed not one, but effectively 2 forms of social VAT. How can we stay calm with France in this state? The gulf between French people has been deepened by political and media figures as cynical as they are relentless, while racism gives some a sense of relevance by crushing others. Humiliation is powerful. It can rally millions of young people whose dreams have been stolen. With your blinders on, you'll see this call for social peace as a disruption. But who can claim to do politics without taking a stand?
Un retour à la paix sociale comme une perturbation, mais après tout, qui peut prétendre faire de la politique sans prendre position?
As France slides deeper into its long built-in social and economic fractures, the country appears to be approaching a tipping point, its future uncertain, with everything still to rebuild.
In Morocco, corruption is undermining the national economy and compelling citizens to live in deplorable social conditions, a powder keg likely to explode at any moment. More indications with Salim Meroa.
In Morocco, the crisis is worsening, a direct consequence of the failure of the Mahzen policies. Corruption is seeping into the machinery of the state in 2 years. Commodity prices have jumped, wages are frozen, a gunpowder likely to explode at any moment.
هذه الحكومة هذه بعيدة والمغرب بعيد كل البعد عن الدولة الاجتماعية.
The state as well as its policies are far from the characteristic social reality. There must already be integration and equitable access to public services. These services must be equitable to ensure equality and strengthen social justice. It should be noted that the official figures from international organizations are unequivocal.
يمكن يكون عندنا تنمية بدون استقرار وممكن يكون عندنا استقرار بدون تماسك اجتماعي.
Corruption fueled by Mahzen policies is undermining the economy, costing more than 4.6 billion euros each year, a financial gap that goes hand in hand with the social climate and the repression of critical voices.
ورا الدولة اللي فيها القانون مخدم ما عمرها تخدم راهي الشفارة من الحكومة
Many signs of a deep crisis prevail, notably exclusion and restriction of freedoms, which remain the rule.
Algeria is geared up to host the 2025 Intra-African Trade Fair, aiming to turn into the continent's biggest platform for investment, entrepreneurship and economic integration. Melissa Dila Balaman.
Boosting trade between African countries, attracting investment, and deepening the continent's economic integration. These are just some of the goals set for the 2025 Intra-African Trade Fair. The event aims high, positioning itself as a major catalyst for African economic unity. Organizers say they want this edition to be the most impactful in the IATF's history in terms of economic results and global visibility, while reaffirming Algeria's role as a driving force in Africa's development. This is all part of a drive to revive entrepreneurship in Africa. It's a great initiative, and I'm not surprised it comes from Algeria, a country that has always listened to Africa and worked for its integration, whether in security, politics, the economy, or social affairs.
Et qui a toujours œuvré pour l'intégration africaine, qu'elle soit sécuritaire, politique, économique, social.
The IATF will also serve as a platform for young African entrepreneurs, startup founders, university students, and researchers seeking partnership and opportunities at every level. Special days will be dedicated to countries and public and private sector entities, showcasing opportunities in trade, investment, tourism, and culture. The Intra-African Trade Fair is expecting thousands of participants from 75 countries, with a projected $44 billion in B2B deals. Through the Startup Village, it's a unique opportunity for our entrepreneurs, for business creation, and to showcase our youth in the startup ecosystem.
Pour notre création d'entreprise et pour valoriser notre jeunesse autour des startups.
L'écosystème des startups en Afrique.
Africa's startup ecosystem is undergoing a remarkable transformation, driven by a hard-working entrepreneurial youth, the growth of the digital sector, and increasing support from both local and international investors. As the International Union of Business Leaders, we have many projects in the economic and entrepreneurial fields, and we place great importance in the participation of Africa's youth. They are the future of the continent and the key to its development.
واحنا حريصين جدا ان يكون في مشاركه من الشباب الافريقي.
Algeria is determined to make this flagship gathering a lever for economic emergence, backed by strong interest and the support of Algerian authorities. The 2025 edition is set to mark a new chapter in Africa's journey toward economic independence.
And we wrap up our edition with sports, as the national football team snatched a 1-1 draw versus the Guinean side as part of the African Nations Championship being jointly held by Uganda, Kenya and Tanzania. The Desert Foxes rank now second with 5 points and a giant step towards progressing to the quarter-final round. And with this, we come to the end of our edition. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you for being with us. Have a good night.